For filming electric skateboarding with a drone, by myself, without a second person, I need a drone that is highly portable, has multiple tracking modes, and can keep up with the speed of an electric skateboard. The best one I'm aware of today that fits those requirements is the Hover X1 Pro Max. Lots of videos about this drone are already out there, but I'm gonna talk specifically about using it for filming electric skateboarding content. I'll let you know what's great about it, and also some limitations that e-skaters should be aware of. These are the topics I'll be covering. Let's start with portability. Portability is super important to me. Since I mostly film electric skateboarding content by myself, everything I carry must fit in my messenger bag. I don't want to wear a backpack while e-skating. It just doesn't look right to me. A messenger bag just looks and feels more casual. In my bag, I already carry a bunch of other stuff, so there's not much room for anything else. But the Hover drone, when folded up, is only about the size of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. According to my scale, the drone with a battery weighs exactly 194 grams. That is very light. For context, that's slightly lighter than an Insta360 X5. I've crashed the Hover X1 Pro Max quite a few times, but it still works perfectly fine. The cages that surround the propellers are flexible, which helps with absorbing impact. When I stuff the drone in my bag, I don't need a thick case protecting it. I just use the sleeve to protect the lens and the gimbal. I wouldn't purposely drop it on the ground to test its durability, but when I'm flying it, I'm not concerned about damaging it from hitting trees or buildings. The obstacle avoidance is pretty good, but when it's flying sideways, it does have a higher likelihood of hitting something. But as I said, I've already crashed it a few times, and aside from some scuff marks, it's totally fine. When it comes to image quality, my own requirements are not very high. The Hover X1 Pro Max does 8K, 10-bit HDR, 160 megabits per second, etc., but it's still a small camera. Nowadays, most of my footage is filmed on an iPhone, so that's about the level of quality that I personally require. I wouldn't expect DSLR image quality from a small sensor and a small lens. I'm sure you can nitpick about the image quality of this small camera versus other small cameras, but to me personally, it's not better or worse by any meaningful metric. The image quality is already better than what I would expect from such a lightweight drone. The tracking ability of the Hover X1 Pro Max is at the same time very impressive, but also limited in a couple ways for filming electric skateboarding content. I've had the Hover follow and track me with and without the beacon accessory, and also in different flight modes. In open areas with few people around, I find the optical tracking to be just as good as with the beacon most of the time. It's reliable enough that I generally don't bother with connecting the beacon. Now, of course, if you purposely try to have the drone lose you, you will succeed. It's not that hard, but under most circumstances, I think the optical tracking works really well. For electric skateboarding content, as I said, there are a couple limitations you should be aware of. First of all, as far as I can tell, there's no way to have the composition framing be angled a little bit lower. It does a great job of keeping most of my body in frame, especially my upper body, but oftentimes the skateboard is either at the edge of the frame or just completely not in the frame. It's kind of an issue when the subject of your content is the electric skateboard and not yourself. With most of the flight modes, you can choose to have the drone's distance from you be close, middle, or far, and the altitude be low, flat, or high. Setting the parameters to far and high will always show the board. It's not the kind of drone shot I want all the time, but it is the most predictable. The other annoyance is that when I'm carving, which is a very basic thing you do in electric skateboarding, no matter which flight mode I'm in, the drone will sway back and forth as it tries to predict which way I'm going. I've tried using the follow mode, the cycling mode, and the ski mode. None of them work as well as I would like for carving footage. On a wide horizontal display, it's not that bad, I guess. But on a vertical display, like on a phone, carving footage with autonomous tracking is basically unwatchable because of how much the camera is moving. So I find that to film myself carving, it's still better to use an action camera on a selfie stick, unless I have a second person manually flying the drone. Earlier, I mentioned the beacon, but the beacon is a lot more than just a beacon. It has a real-time display so you see what the drone sees. It can be a one-handed motion controller, and it can be a two-handed controller with or without connecting a phone. It's actually pretty awesome. But for filming electric skateboarding content by myself, I don't really use the beacon. Like I said earlier, optical tracking is already really good. I feel the beacon is more useful for manual control or co-pilot mode, which is a mix of autonomous and manual control. The beacon has a built-in microphone, but I wouldn't use it while riding. It doesn't sound good at all. If you want to be really fancy, Hover also has this power case, which is a protective case that also recharges the drone. There are other accessories as well, like ND filters, but I didn't spend much time with them. Finally, I want to talk about convenience. Convenience is not a very tangible feature, like you can't put a spec number on it, but it is the main reason I use this drone. The Hover X1 Pro Max is super convenient to use. I mentioned portability earlier. It fits in my bag easily, but it also fits in most of my pockets. To start recording, I just turn on the drone, choose the type of shot I want to record right on the drone, and hit the button. And that's it. It does the rest by itself. I don't need a phone or a remote. Once it starts flying, it starts recording. And when it comes back and lands on my hand, it stops recording. It's super simple. Another convenient feature is the built-in storage. I have actually never flown this drone with a memory card. It does have a slot for a micro SD card, but it also has 64 gigabytes of internal storage. For just drone footage, I have never come close to recording 64 gigabytes from a single shoot. That's way more than enough for me. You know that saying, the best camera is the one that you have with you? Well, I'd like to add to that. The camera that you'll actually have with you is the one that's convenient. These cameras that I bring with me, let's be honest, don't have the best image quality, but they're so convenient to bring with me. And the same goes for the Hover. The Hover X1 Pro Max, in a way, has a similar design philosophy to my electric skateboard, the Parsec Aero Pro. The Aero Pro is all about being lightweight and convenient to use in very common use cases. Neither of them try to have the longest range or the highest top speed. They are, however, designed to be really fun to use without the inconvenience of being larger and heavier. And that's how I like my gear nowadays. I used to have multiple DSLR cameras with multiple lenses, speed lights, and other crap. And I got rid of all of that because I found myself not using them. The same cameras I use over and over again are the small, lightweight cameras that fit in my bag or my pockets. That level of portability is essential to me for filming electric skateboarding content because I'm usually filming by myself. Everything I bring with me needs to stay with me as I ride from one place to another. I don't have a discount code or anything, but you can check out the drones from Hover at hoverair.com. But I do have a discount code for the Parsec Aero Pro electric skateboard.